Right. Let's hear from who can we hear from? Rob Hunter.
Good
Where is?
morning.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, well, how about you?
Good. So tell us, what's an additional resource that you've learned from the program that's made you a better leader, a better coach, and then maybe what's an example of a coaching session that you had that really helped people see more in themselves they wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Well, I really think through the whole program that one of the things that I really took away from that just really fortified, a belief that I had myself was the fact that learning about the salesman to understand, what they truly, believed in their own abilities, and so, that's what gives us the ability to go out in front of a sales, to make that sale happen in front of a customer because if they're truly not believing in the product or if they truly don't believe in the company or if they truly don't believe in delivery, they're not believable, and that comes with experience, so to me the group, the different ones, whether it be managers or sales, was to get them to understand the products and their abilities and what we have to offer, because that is really the story behind BMC. We're more than just lumber. We're more than just labor. We are someone that comes alongside and solves problems. So if we can really get the salesmen, the OSRs, to be able to understand that and not be afraid to expose some of the knowledges that they are lacking, in those leashes, to where we can actually address them. I really feel that that was a really big part of the program that could really take us to the next level. So we worked on that a lot, to where it wasn't so much knocking someone down. It was really just as a group sitting and talking and finding out how to get answers to problems, right? So we did that as a group, and to bolster up the group to basically say, give them confidence in themselves to be able to go out, and be the one. My saying to the group was always, what are you doing to sit at the table?
Mm.
So but at the end of the day, people would ask me, well, how did you get the deal? How you weren't even in there. Well, I was the only one there when they were talking to make the deal. There wasn't anybody else there. So apparently I was the guy at the table, right? So that to me is something that we all need to really embrace. What are you doing each and every day to be the one that they want to call to have at the table to negotiate and make the deal?
Oh, that's well said, Rob. So, if you go back to the original concept of, the levels of a sales warrior. So, first you're afraid, and then you become a helper, and then you become a leader, and then you become a warrior. And the thing about a warrior is exactly what you just said: is they're an advocate for BMC. They're an advocate for their product. They're an advocate for their process. They're an advocate for the customer's goals as well, and what the goals are, what the outcomes are. And it's that advocacy that says, you know what, I'm worthy of being at this table. And I'm the best option for them, and I can help them achieve their goals. And it's that level of internal efficacy or advocacy in themselves and in BMC, what they're a part of, that overpowers the fear or reluctance or leashes that keeps them from being timid and saying that they don't deserve that or they're not worthy. And that's what you did for them. That's what you did for them. So, give me an example of that, because I love that, and I love something else that you said, which is so great. That I believe in is that I always tell people, look, you're not broken, and I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to liberate or unleash you. And that's what you communicated to them. So tell me what else you said to them, or is there a moment that comes to mind where a certain salesperson was, they were struggling, they were leashed, and it was a defining moment in them that really kind of helped them grow.
Sure. We had a trade show that we put on up in San Francisco, and we had a booth that we put in, and so I was up there with multiple OSRs that were from our market, and so products were out there, and there were some young OSRs that basically were told to hang on to me and learn, right? So we were basically, I'm talking to a customer, and got the customer's information, and we moved on, and in a next month I got a phone call, and multi-million dollar house, and and they wanted us to do the products. And so I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to assign you a salesman. So I called this young salesman up, and I basically said, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to help you through it, but I'm not going to let you alone, but I want you to run it and drive it. So he went through that process, and we gave him numbers, and all of a sudden he got the feedback. And the first thing he said, well, boss, we're too high. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, he told us we were way too high. He was expecting a lot cheaper price. And so he said, we're not going to be able to use you right now. Your trusses were good, but everything else was really high. And I said, so, what did you learn from that? And he goes, well, I guess we're going to have to, lower our price. And I'm like, no, that's not what we learned. We learned that he wants our trusses. I said, so you're not out of the game. I said, you're back in the game. I said, so you give him a call and you set up an appointment and you go back into it. And then he didn't tell you that, that you were totally out of the picture when it came to the lumber. He just told you what we bid was high. We didn't bid it a certain way. The other guy bid it a different way. So I said, now you're back in. We're gonna, so I coached him through what he needed to do. And when we were all said and done, he got the complete sale. So he was just thrilled and excited because he went through a process of not knowing, not believing, just basically sitting back going, I'm done. Then all of a sudden realizing, giving him the confidence that I'm not done. I have the tools, and I just need to ask the questions, right? So I think where the big mistake a lot of people make in life, period, is asking the question. It's not, you're afraid to walk up to the door and knock on the door and just ask the question. So, getting him past that, he's actually been a very excited salesman. He's actually, thriving, moving forward, learning through the processes. And I think, like what you said earlier, he's not afraid to give me a call and ask questions. And that's the part right there that makes the difference, because he sees a mentor, or he sees someone that he can just reach out to and get confidence in and be able to not feel like knocked down, just basically what can I do to get built up, and how can I get direction on which way I need to go, because I want to be better. That's his final conclusion in his life, was I want to be better, so what do I got to do? So I'm gonna reach out and find out how to get better.
Man, you saved a soul on that one. You saved a soul. That's awesome, because I love. I mean, that's the whole reason why we did this program. And it's so funny. Yesterday, you get these Facebook updates, like the memories. And if you ever see that, it's like a memory from a year ago or 2 years ago. Well, 4 years ago, the Leadership Sales Coaching Program won the best sales management program in the world out of 40 countries and 4,000 industries. That was 4 years ago yesterday. And it's just so neat. It's so neat to see that 4 years later, that the impact that it's making, just this one person at a time, and it's through through people like yourself, and I one of the things I think is so great is how, again, you changed his perspective. That's all you did, is that you changed his perspective. That when he came to you and said, hey boss, all I got to do is to get this sale is you just got to lower the price, and you said, wait a minute, that's not. Let me change your perspective. Let me change the way you look at things, so the things you look at change. Because right now, if both were free, who would he go with? Oh, well, he would go with BMC. The reason what he's saying to you is he likes your product. He's not currently convinced of your price and your value. You have to give him permission to spend more and get more. So you got to go back in there. All he's looking for is permission. All he's looking for is tell me why I should spend more. I want to spend more. My emotional side says, my emotional side of my brain says, I believe in the trusses. I believe in the value of BMC. Emotionally, intuitively, I do. Logically, though, it doesn't add up. So I need you to intellectually give me some evidence to prove why my emotional reasoning says I should do this. Go back in there. That's what he's saying. And that's what you coached him on. That's what you were able to do, that just by that one little adjust in thinking.
I agree.
It's pretty game changing to think about. Just, and how long did that coaching session take for you?
Oh, I'd say if you even did it over, just that one is very small. It was very, very short. But I'm going to say over the time period of this last year, a total of hours, maybe over the year, maybe an 8 hour, period over that time, because it's really just these small interaction tidbits of when you get together, or phone calls that make the difference. I think the big difference to me as a leader is the availability of of us as leaders. Our job is to die of ourselves and put the other men in front. And that's really a hard thing to do, right? Because we have to take time for everybody else. And so as leaders, we have to be willing to do that. And that to me is the big difference, because when they see that, then it's not all about you. It's really about them.
That's it. So here's what I want everyone to hear, though. This is the connection, the causation, the value. So you said you spent, over the year, maybe 8 hours in little kind of micro coaching sessions with just this one person. Okay. And if you were, I want to put some numbers to it. So how much an additional, let's say, revenue do you think you were able to achieve for him because of these little micro coaching sessions? Like in this instance, like it's just one coaching session. You probably had a 30-minute coaching session with him, and you were able to get him to go back in there and get a sale at a higher price, where other managers would have said, got it, no problem, let me lower the price so we can get this deal across the finish line. So how much additional profit and revenue were you able to make off that 30-minute coaching session?
Well, so I'm gonna go probably even deeper than that, because we probably wouldn't have got the sale at all, right? So it would have probably been zero. But at his direction, if I had let him go the direction he was going, it ended up being, if I remember right, the total sale was close to a $300,000 sale. So it was very profitable. The trusses were at a very at that time, if I remember right, they were a $30,000 trust package at 42 points of margin. So it was a very profitable. No one wanted to take the house on because of it being a custom. It was just a feedback because we were trying to sell them ready frame, and of course, being a custom ready frame is you're gonna spend a lot more design time in it. So it was a little bit higher priced when we went in, because we knew we were going to have what we had to do. When he was trying to compare apples to apples, he had nothing to compare it to because there was no one else doing a ready frame. So it was conventional framing, just lumber compared to ready frame. So there was no way he could compare anything. So his first reaction is, I thought it was going to be cheaper for ready frame because you were going to have design and all this. No, we take a lot of the headache out of your building cycle because of ready frame. So once we got back that and we peeled back to the apples, and we said, well, then if that's the case, and you're just really looking at let us just bid the lumber. Let us just bid apples to apples. Well, when we came in, we were actually took the lumber over because we were actually apples to apples better. But that was the whole conversation. It all came from asking the questions. Why are you saying we're higher? What are you comparing to? Getting that information was the most important part of it. So I know that was a long explanation, but I can tell you the long storm, it went from nothing to, I'm going to say at least 20 points of margin probably on a $300,000, sale.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important for you guys to know. And I'll definitely be sharing that with your leadership, because I want each of you, if you don't already believe that your effort makes a difference and that when you coach your people, it matters, like these are examples of how it does. Because a manager, all they do is just they just say, okay, how can I make your life easier? How can I be the liaison between corporate and the field? And if this is the number you need, let me lower the price and we'll match it and let's just be in the game. And it's called a red ocean. A red ocean is we're all doing the same thing and it's all about just the price. But a blue ocean is, you know what? We deserve to charge more because we're giving you more and we're worth it. And let me prove that to you, and people are going to spend more. And what you're showing is your blue ocean, your differentiating value is you as a coach, and you giving your people the additional knowledge and resources to be able to sell at a higher level. And that 30-minute coaching conversation, look at the amount of money that as far as what we invest in you, your total salary, your total income, et cetera, from a 30-minute session, and how that converted into a $300,000 sale with additional profit margin that BMC wouldn't have received. And that's the value there. A manager would just lower the profit margin. A coach increases the profit margin, which is just game changing. It's game changing to see the ripple effect of that. So again, thank you for thank you for sharing that. And you know, I mean, what was the guy's name that you coached?
Moa.
Yeah. And how long has he been here?
A little over a year and a half or so.
Yeah. Let's do one last thing, 'cause I want everyone to really see this from him. Is it Moan?
Moa.
Moa.
Moa. Palm.
Okay, so perfect. So Moa, what's interesting is if he would have stayed on the trajectory that he was on, how long do you think he would have survived at BMC?
You know, I think he would I think he would have survived, but he just wouldn't have excelled. You know, and I think that really, and I think we all as managers have seen a lot of people that survive in a job, because we just watch them kind of, you know, do the motions and go through the motions and stuff. But the difference lies in is to watch someone that is excited and wants to excel and wants to change and has a different perspective. And I think that's what changes. That's what happened and changed with him, is I saw a different perspective from him once he started seeing that he had a light at the end of the tunnel of how he could get through, because he was floundering a little bit on sales. He was trying to figure out, how do I get through this? And I'm learning. He came from no background in the industry. He had a sales background, but not in our industry. So I think he was just really trying to find his way. And in all reality, you know, not really getting a good direction on how to find that proper way of getting to the customer and getting there in front of it. So it just gave him a lot of confidence to go out and jump in, you know, with both feet and go after it, you know. And since that time, you know, little tidbits here and there of just, what do I do in this situation, boss? You know, what do I do here? What do I do here? You know, that kind of thing. So you can see the difference in someone, and I think it really changes the perspective of the OSRs, because anytime, I think you touched on it earlier, our own reflection should be, are people reaching out to us? Are people actually calling us and saying, that's a good way to test your own temperature, right? I mean, in all reality, are they reaching out to me and they saying, you know, what would I do in this situation? Can you teach me how to do that? How can I do this? Would you go with me? Can you do this? Can you do that? That should be a real testament to each and every one of us, because then it kind of shows the fact that you're willing to work with them and they know that.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's, you know, it's an amazing, again, it's an amazing impact that you made on him. And, you know, I just think it's important for us to, there's a movie called The Guardian. It's a Kevin Costner movie about a Coast Guard. You remember that movie, that cool movie? And there's this one scene where what's the actor? You know, Ashton Kutcher. You know, it keeps asking him over and over again. You know, he's the mentee to the mentor of Kevin Costner, and he says, "So what's your number? You know, what's your number? How many people have you saved? You know?" And the cocky Ashton Kutcher, the new kid, is like, it's all about how many he saves. You know, and he finally retires, and there's one scene at the end of the movie, and he said, "So I got to know one thing. You know, what's your number?" And he gives him a number, and he's like, "Well, that's not so bad. That's not a very good number. And that's not." And he said, "No, that's the number that I lost. That's the number that I lost." And it was a cool kind of defining moment. You know, almost gets tears to my eyes just thinking about it. But that's what you're learning right now as a leader, is that it's not about how many you've saved in their career and helped them survive. To your point, it's potentially how many do you lose. You know, how many can you not touch? How can you not reach? And that's shifting everything. I mean, that's a whole different, you know, for him and his family and his life. I mean, you've given him way more than additional income. You know, I believe there's no such thing as professional problems. There are personal problems that affect our business. And so when you've given him a whole new self-image and belief and possibilities and courage and confidence, I guarantee you that's affecting his marriage, his home life, as a parent, as a father, as a friend. It's affecting everything in his life. It's pretty cool.
Well, we hope so, right?
Yeah. Oh, it has. I guarantee you that. Well, thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.